Anyways, but let's move on now into the top 10. And I want to make a little adjustment. Dave helped me out and gave me the assist here. Kenny Atkinson from the Spurs East. So technically under the pop tree, as Bud was a pop sprout.
Most definitely.
Yes, and Atkinson grew from the bud tree, the Budenholzer tree. But anyways, let's jump into the top 10 of the starting shooting guards. Starting off at number 10 is Chris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks. Coming at number 9, Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. Coming at number 8, Andrew Wiggins of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And boy, those Timberwolves jerseys are looking so sweet, boys.
They do.
Let's jump in now to number 7, Avery Bradley, now of the Detroit Pistons. It's going to be interesting to see what he does in that situation. Let's go to number 6, Cj Mccollum of the Portland Trailblazers. Number 5, Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards, alpha number 2 in Washington. Then you go to Gordon Hayward, now of the Boston Celtics at 4. Demar Derozan at number 3 of the Toronto Raptors. Number 2, Mr. Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors. And rounding out at the top, at his rightful place.
Unanimously.
James Harden of the Houston Rockets. Dave, I don't know if Ricky's going to say it, but I'll say it. I'm sorry for doubting you, and I'm sorry for doubting James Harden. Because James Harden, at his position last year, we had the argument. Ricky and I both had him at Klay Thompson at number 1 last year. You were the only one to put James Harden at number 1 of the shooting guards, and James Harden had one hell of a season. I was
also the person who argued that both James Harden and Russell Westbrook could pull off triple doubles this year.
I don't think I was against you with that. I just didn't think Harden was going to do it. I also didn't think Harden and the Rockets were going to be able to do what they did.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
Hence why I don't think I even had him in the playoffs. But James Harden, by far, number 1. It's not like last week where we were even talking about Steph versus Russ. I mean, James Harden, by far, was the best.
And first off, I'm not going to apologize for my own opinions. I'm not going to apologize for anything that I think.
I was wrong. I mean,
no, coming into last year, like these rankings are, you're coming into a new season, and... we didn't exactly.
But Dave took it personally. Dave took it personally.
Yeah, I know Dave took it personally, but like
I don't think James Harden.
I don't think everyone could comprehend what Kevin Durant was going to mean exactly to the Warriors and how much he was going to affect everything.
Well, I don't think it was anything that Klay did wrong. I think it was just James Harden had one hell of a season.
James Harden had one hell of a year. Also, Klay Thompson, you'd have to say his role was a little bit diminished. Where coming into last year, we were talking Steph and Klay, 1-2, leading the Warriors. This year, we're talking about Steph and Durant.
You mean Durant and Steph?
Yeah, well, either or. Tomato.
I know.
They're still the top two, but a little bit of it and a lot of it was what James Harden did as well. But, I mean, I'm not going to apologize for what I thought last year.
You thought wrong. That's all I have to say.
No, coming into last year, that's how I had it. It's called a prediction, Dave.
Yep. And your prediction was incorrect.
And my prediction was wrong. Anyways, James Harden, by far, easily number 1.
Yeah, I mean, do you think going to shooting guard is going to affect him much? I think, like, the Chris Paul thing...
No.
I think it's only going to help at this point.
I think his numbers will be affected, and he's not going to be close to a triple-double.
He's not going to be a triple-double anymore,
No, but I think he's still going to be fantastic. Yeah. Is he going to have his crazy streak where he had, like, 7 assists in, like, every single game or something like that? No. But he's still going to be effective going to the hole. He's still going to be effective from the outside. And honestly, those looks are just going to be better. He's going to be more efficient. And, maybe James Harden now will play defense or better defense. And
I'll say thank you.
Because I'll take that away. When he was with Dwight Howard, he didn't play defense. Last year, he stepped up his game a little more. And now with Chris Paul, that's even going to be more improved. So
I just feel bad for the refs. Like, having to deal with Chris Paul and James Harden on the court at the same time must be terrible.
I know you guys love the movie Pull Out Michael Carter Williams. I'm sad Michael Carter Williams isn't in these rankings because he was in there last year at number 30 for point guard.
Oh, yeah. He was a strong contender.
That James Harden move. I mean, he'd probably be number 1 on drawing fouls.
Jesus.
But Klay, I mean, obviously, with his ability to play defense and his ability to shoot 3, he's number 2. Let's get into the one that I think is a little bit interesting, though. The 3 through 5. DeMar DeRozan coming in at 3, Gordon Hayward coming in at 4, and Bradley Beal coming in at 5. Do you feel like we got that right? Because
I don't
you
think
had him
so.
You had Bradley Beal at 3.
I think Bradley Beal, outside of James and Klay, is like the clear best option left. Because for me, he's even playing next to John Wall. So I mean, yeah, you get the like rub off of playing another superstar, but at the same time, I can't think of anyone who, for his age, is a better talent. Like, the guy is younger than your Wooden Award winner. I mean, he's got 5 years under his belt, and he's putting up ridiculous numbers on amazing efficiency. The whole thing with him was his health, and he proved last year, look, when I'm healthy, I'm a monster out here, and you have to respect that. And that's, to me, and he's good offensively, and he's passable defensively. I think that's the thing, is like, we have a two-way player with amazing efficiency, with a 3-point shot that should scare the shit out of anyone. And he's not afraid to take shots. He has the ego to be an alpha, and he will argue that with John Wall. And I don't care if they don't like each other a little bit because they play off each other. There's the difference there. It's not like get out of my town, Kyrie's like, I'm leaving. No, they have that rivalry built up, and it's a friendly one, but it's still, I think it only has helped them both develop.
They push each other to be better.
Absolutely.
And I don't disagree with that, and I totally think that Bradley Beal can end up in the top 3, but DeMar DeRozan has
he doesn't have a 3-ball. That's
no,
not
but he has the best mid-game.
He's the most efficient mid-game.
It doesn't matter about the 3-game. DeMar DeRozan was a monster, and we were talking about MVP talks early in the season for DeMar DeRozan with the stats he was putting up. Yes, he fall off, but
as the Anthony Davis numbers. I mean, it was stupid. But
people were even comparing him to MJ when he was on that run.
I mean, he had the Kobe-like run. With the mid-range.
He also fell off because Kyle Lowry got injured and banged up, and that Toronto Raptor team wasn't as good as we thought. But DeMar DeRozan's game hasn't stopped, and he's honestly he's hitting the prime of his career right now. It's not like DeMar DeRozan's getting any he's getting towards that 30 or 31-year-old mark. He's still in that late 20s era where he could still be in his prime, and he's probably at the peak of his prime right now. DeMar DeRozan, still has the best mid-range game, and his 3-point shot isn't awful. It's not great. It's not going to be up to, it's not going to be like 37, 38, 40%, but he's still passable, and I still think that he's one of the best scorers with the ball in his hands in the NBA. I don't think you can put that past him. And with Gordon Hayward, I put Gordon Hayward above him because not only is he going to the Celtics, which is just a better team, and we saw what he did with the Jazz last year, I think that his leadership is something that really goes unnoticed, where the leader on the Washington Wizards is John Wall, and Bradley Beal can argue that, but John Wall is the one with the ball in his hand. John Wall is the one leading that team. I think Gordon Hayward, especially being paired with his old college coach and Brad Stevens, I think that he's going to be taking a leadership role on this Celtics team. And I know Isaiah Thomas will obviously take a little bit of that as well. I just think that Gordon Hayward's leadership is something that really doesn't go unnoticed. And I think that Gordon Hayward is just kind of an unnoticed player in general because, yes, Bradley Beal has the sexy 3-point shot. He has the sexy 3-point numbers. He's got 23 points per game. But Gordon Hayward's consistently been putting up the same numbers every single year in Utah, and no one really has noticed it. Gordon Hayward's just consistent.
He's fighting on that fringe of 19, 21. He's been consistent, but he hasn't been amazing. And I think that's the thing for me. He got the All-Star this year, and he deserved it, definitely.
But he's very well-rounded, is the thing.
And that's the thing. He is in that second or third tier of, really the top. And the problem for me is because we're kind of him as a shooting guard here, and he can bounce between small forward, shooting guard. And that's becoming more normal these days, I'll admit.
And let's be honest, he would have been a small forward if Boston kept Avery Bradley.
Right.
Yeah, and got rid of Jay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're assuming that Jay's going to be the star. Yeah, no, I'm just clarifying to them.
Yeah.
They might not know. We're assuming Jay Crowder is going to be the small forward, and Gordon Hayward will be playing the 2. But even then, Jay Crowder wasn't a huge fan of Gordon Hayward possibly signing with him, so he might not be in the starting lineup. He might be the 6th man. Gordon might slide over to the small forward, and then our boy Jaylen Brown might step into the shooting guard. So we're not really sure. I think last year Gordon Hayward was a shooting guard for us, so we're going to keep him as a shooting guard this year.
My whole big thing was, first, I don't think we got it wrong, only because I look at our top 4. In even our top 5, it's the exact top 5 that I have, so obviously I'm not going to say we got it completely wrong with the DeMar through Beal, but I will say the conversation I was having in my head was 4 through 6. How do I rank Hayward, Beal, and I'm even throwing CJ in there because I know Dave, while we were putting these rankings together, putting our own, Dave was like, we were so high on CJ, I'm putting CJ this low, and you were getting kind of heated about it.
Yeah, and then I looked at his stats, I was wait, he was way better than I thought he was.
Exactly, 23 points per game, a per of almost, I'm just going to say 20. He was at 19.99, I'm just going to say 20, round it up. And to me, I looked at it in mine, I picked Hayward because of everything you said.
Well, and can I add one thing to the Hayward thing? Gordon Hayward is also a fringe 50, 40, 90 player because the free throw really isn't there, but shot from the field, very efficient, 47% from the field, 39% from 3, and about 85% from the free throw line. And he's just something where he's an all-around great player, and he's just super efficient. And I don't think that efficiency is going to change when going to the Boston Celtics.
Well, and my huge question was then Bradley Beal versus Cj Mccollum.
Yeah.
I eventually settled on Beal above McCollum, but there was a part of me that wanted to put CJ right there at 5 in the top 5.
And I will say, I think some of that, the reason why we kind of put Beal over McCollum is recency bias, because last year we had McCollum at 3 as the 3rd best, and we had Beal at 9, but that was because Bradley Beal was coming off the injury, and we knew what Bradley Beal could do, but he was never able to stay consistent. So we put Beal now higher because he did have a better season last year.
So what you're saying
with
is
the team success.
Chris Middleton's going to be a top 5 next year.
Hopefully.
Is what you're saying. Because he's right there. Injury concerns last year, 9-10 in our rankings this year.
I hope so, man. But
See, for me, that was Wiggins.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy I think who's going to have potentially the biggest jump.
And we'll get to Wiggins, but let's finish this Beal
McCollum
thing because they play similar roles. Dame and Wall are obviously the number ones on that team. Yep. They are fantastic number 2s, and we probably the best 1-2 punches outside of Steph and Clay. Really. And they're
CP3 Harden.
Oh,
now.
CP3 Harden. I keep forgetting about that one. That's so fun.
My bad. Some of the stuff is a little ridiculous now.
Yeah, but I mean, and Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, you could throw that in there too. And Isaiah Thomas, Gordon Hayward. Anyways,
we can just get away.
At least they play a similar position because both of them are not huge guards. John Wall, McCollum, Lillard, Beal. They're not big guards. It's not like they're Gordon Hayward coming in at 6'7". DeMar DeRozan coming in, I think he's like 6'7" too. They play similar roles off of each other is what I'm trying to say. And I think something where CJ was fantastic last year, was super efficient from the field, but I think it's something where the team success played into it as well because Portland barely made it in, where the Wizards had a fantastic year and they kind of took us by surprise. And I think that's one reason why we put Beal over, and the fact that Bradley Beal is younger.
Yeah,
Bradley Beal is 24.
He just turned 24.
And is finally healthy.
Yep.
And
it's all upside now. And that's the crazy thing is when you look at somebody who's that young and has already proven that he can put up these numbers, I'm like, yeah, I absolutely love it. The problem is you look at the games played in his past, and it's 56, 73, 63, 55, 77. Like, he's bounced around, and if he can cement himself as a healthy player going forward, like, sky's the limit for this kid. He's got everything it takes to be an absolute stud in this league for the future, like 10 years. He'll hit his prime in a couple years. Think about that.
I mean, in 4 more years, he'll be 28, and that's where you really hit your prime. I mean, right around there. And the one thing, too, I know you guys have been a fan of advanced metrics recently.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this isn't going to change our overalls.
Yeah.
But I just changed it. CJ at 5, Beal at 4, or Beal at 6.
Can I change it again?
Sure.
You know, I had the higher per?
Beal. I know Beal.
Bradley Beal, and also had higher win share, too.
Yeah, and
I'm just saying, and then I also think with the team success, that's the reason why I put Beal over.
Yeah, and I mean, a part of that too is also with team success, you got to bring in Otto Porter, someone we were very low on, if my memory serves me correct. Last year,
he was top 20, but he was low 20.
Yeah, but he was.
Low teens.
And I mean, I look at it. Cj Mccollum, just stat wise, is a lot better than Beal, and I'm not saying Beal's anything bad.
The problem is that they failed
with Per.
They really underperformed until Nurkic kind of gave them a boost.
And
that's the thing.
Bradley Beal did have more points per game, and also he was less efficient. He was a less efficient 3-point shooter. Bradley Beal was.
Yeah, that's the big one. The field goals were comparable.
However, the field goal percentage, Bradley Beal had a higher field goal percentage.
By 0.2.
Still had a higher field goal percentage.
But I'm just like, that's like shaving hairs. We're shaving hairs there.
I'm just saying. And also, Cj Mccollum took less threes.
I would say he shot 7.2 threes a game versus 5.5. Like, Bradley Beal had a load on his back.
And it's one thing where, again, I think you take in team success. And
the Wizards had one of the best starting 5s in the league from a plus-minus standpoint. So, like, they were a successful unit where we watched Portland struggle throughout the year to kind of find their groove until they hit it at the end.
And it's something where I think, again, you're splitting hairs here, and I just think that
we're all splitting hairs.
I think Bradley Beal and John Wall, this young group is going to get better, and I'm not saying Dame and CJ haven't.
Yeah, no, they're phenomenal.
I think they've hit their peak. I think, we've seen the best out of CJ, we've seen the best out of Dame. We still have that question of Bradley Beal might get better. And John Wall has been getting better as well.
You don't think CJ's going to get better? Because CJ and Bradley Beal are the same age.
No, CJ's 26.
CJ's one older. No, he's 25 right now. He'll be 26 in September.
I was saying,
and Bradley Beal just turned 24. So he's 2 years old. A year and a half older, sorry.
Yep.
But CJ, I don't know. I mean, I don't really see. Maybe CJ just becomes more efficient. But also,
he's
Bradley
already
Beal,
stupidly efficient, which is a scary thing.
And Bradley Beal's going to become more efficient. It's something where Bradley Beal just might become more comfortable in his role.
But this could be CJ's top end. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like I want to say Ricky's stupid saying like the ceiling is the floor or some shit.
Well, I didn't say that.
One thing too,
Michael Jordan did.
Yeah.
One thing too.
The ceiling is the roof.
Thank you.
That's what Michael Jordan said.
The one thing though is that this is the most games Bradley Beal's ever played in his career, in 77. And Cj Mccollum back-to-back has been super consistent, playing 80 and starting 80 in the past 2 years. And yeah, obviously, he wasn't in a starting role in his first 2 years, and Bradley Beal obviously has been in a starting role for most of his career. with the Wizards. But still, I just think it's something where that game time hasn't been consistent. Him and John Wall haven't been on the same page. I think now it's the time where all of them are going to be able to put the Wizards together, are going to be able to put all of their effort together when they're all healthy. And I think it's just something that there's more upside with Beal and McCollum. But then again, we're splitting hairs, and both of them very similar players, and both of them very great players. But let's get into the little lower half, because you mentioned Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, the new acquisition of Jimmy Butler coming in, Thibodeau getting a second year with both Wiggins and Cat. Why do you think Wiggins is going to be the next guy to take a huge jump?
I mean, the scary thing with Wiggins is he's still a very young player, but he's had the injuries, which really scares me. But the same side, like, his explosiveness was off the charts when he came into the league. His athleticism, like, even with those injuries, I'm not really super concerned because he has a crazy athletic body. And
talk about a first step. Talk about speed.
He's explosive. He's still explosive. I guarantee coming off this next knee injury, he's still going to be explosive. Like, you can just tally him on there. It doesn't matter to me.
Not going to work for Timberwolves fan.
I just think he has something special about him, and he, as much as people, like, Cat definitely is the better player, and everybody thinks he's got the higher upside. Like, I can't argue with that. But there's something special about Wiggins to me where when he has the ball in his hand, it just, you get a different feeling about it. And, like, for me, it's that eye test and that vibe that I get from him. That's why I think, like, he has what it takes to be a superstar in this league. And honestly, I could see him making that jump and going up to, like, that top 5 group if someone like DeMar falls off, or if something happens to somebody else.
Well, and I don't want to bash DeMar Derozan here, but Andrew Wiggins might be a better DeMar Derozan. Because right now Andrew Wiggins shooting 35% from 3, and if he's able to improve that and keep that up, and I think he will be able to improve that number of 35% from 3 because Jimmy Butler's going to be able to take more pressure off him. Cat's going to be able to get the ball to him more. Yes, the ball's going to flow a little less efficiently because of Ricky Rubio not being there, but Jeff Teague still moves the ball efficiently. And it's just something where I think that he's going to get more open looks, not only because he's improving as a team, but his team around him is improving. And it's something where, obviously, I talked about how much D. Wade is going to be affected by the loss of Jimmy Butler, how much Andrew Wiggins is going to be helped by the addition of Jimmy Butler. I think that's going to be something huge. And I totally agree with you that he's going to be taking the next jump, next biggest jump of Andrew Wiggins. I feel like, you just look at his athletic body and you look at his ability to score. I think it's really set in stone that he has every tool for him to do that. However, I don't know if he's going to put up 23, because you look at this.
Say where the point's going to go at this point. I mean, they were a ridiculously high-scoring team for a long time this year, though.
Yeah,
like, they had that stretch where he and Cat both put up like 30+.
But now you're bringing in Jimmy Butler too.
True, I know. The points will go somewhere.
I'm just saying, I don't know how it's really going to be distributed. Maybe he stays at 23, but that's more of an efficient 23, and that grows. And he's again 22 with a ton of athleticism, and he might grow as a defender playing next to Jimmy Butler, playing with Tibbs, and Tibbs helping him grow again. And we saw the development of Jimmy Butler, again, a very athletic guy who doesn't have the best three-point shot, but is a guy who is very physical, a guy that's very quick going to the basket. I mean, Wiggins is just bigger than Jimmy Butler. And I mean, really, you look at this, and the only thing that Jimmy has over him, at least, coming out, I would say developing, is Jimmy was a better and more grittier defender, where Wiggins doesn't have that. But Wiggins is a better athlete, better shooter, better scorer, at least naturally, than Jimmy Butler, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Jimmy had to grow into the scoring role where Wiggins comes in third year, putting
just
up 23.
dropping it. Yeah.
So I think Wiggins for sure has the most room to grow, and then kind of in that same vein, Devin Booker also has a ton of room to grow as well. I mean, obviously we talked about him a ton here, but I look at those bottom 3 in Andrew Wiggins, Devin Booker, and Chris Middleton. I think those guys can rise up here.
See, Chris Middleton's the guy who I'm afraid he's stuck where he's at.
Chris Middleton doesn't fit where he is, but Chris Middleton also hasn't been with Giannis, Brogdon, Jabari Parker, Dellavedova. He hasn't been with all of these guys together because Middleton was hurt last year.
And I'm sorry, I keep thinking.
No, when he came back,
Anthon Maker.
Jabari.
Yeah, and he was fantastic. Chris Middleton was once he came back from injury. And
for some reason, I
Jabari's
keep putting Jabari Parker's injury on Wiggins, and I know that's not it. But yeah, my apology for that.
Same
earlier.
draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, Maple Jordan is just got to be one of the best nicknames. You got to give him credit for that.
Oh, is that the nickname?
Yeah, that's Wiggins' nickname is Maple Jordan.
That's pretty sweet.
That's fantastic.
Because the Canada thing. I forgot he's from
Canada.
Canada.
Because the Canada thing. I think between him and Booker, though, like, those are the next two guys who could really step up. Chris Middleton, I just feel like you said it, it's an all-around team of role players at this point around Giannis, and Jabari could be something special, but at this point in time, like Middleton is the question mark because is he going to take the next step or is he going to continue as a solid role player? I feel like their fans are super passionate about him. But
what I see is in Chris Middleton is a budget Klay Thompson. A very budget Klay Thompson. Not a great.
I like that.
I mean, I think Chris Middleton obviously has the injury issues, and he's not as good as a defender as Klay is, and obviously not as a good three-point shooter, but he's a good three-point shooter. He's a good defender. He's got good athleticism. He doesn't stay healthy, but still, looking at it all around, he's a very well-rounded player.
Yeah.
And I just look at him and paired with Giannis, paired with Brogdon, paired with Thon Maker, paired with Jabari Parker, paired with Greg Monroe. Hell, you could throw him in there. Paired with Delly. I just feel like that is a nice mesh. And hopefully Jason Kidd can put them all together and make it a nice cohesive unit. Because I look at Chris Middleton, and again, last year was super efficient when he came back from the injury, and that is because of the ability of Giannis being able to spread the ball out. And I think that Chris Middleton, Devin Booker, and Wiggins, like I said, will be able to take that jump, where Avery Bradley, he's a guy that isn't really super, sexy, isn't going to be putting up 20 points per game, is a fantastic defender. But then again, you question how much of that's going to be with Boston, and going to Detroit, is it going to hurt his stock?
No, I mean, that's a fair point. I think, honestly, though, it's only going to help his stock at this point for Avery Bradley. Like, he's going to gain a much larger role on a team that was, honestly, like, they had a really disappointing last year. And they kind of hit that, like, reset button a little bit. Like, yeah, KCP's gone. We don't love our point guard. We rumored to trading our, center and Andre Drummond.
Which could still happen.
Could still happen. That's still on the table. So, I mean, this is really a team that, we're waiting to see a lot of the balls drop to see where they're going to land. I think Avery Bradley comes in as like a veteran there and kind of can run whatever he wants to.
Well, I still think he's going to be efficient. I still think Avery Bradley's going to be a good player. I'm just
we
saying
saw
just
a little
because
bit during the playoffs, like when he got to run without Isaiah, I was like, dude can step up. And that's where I'm like, I think he might just become a stud up there, and they might love him.
What I was just trying to make is that Bradley might fall, but he's still going to be a top 10 shooting guard. I don't think he's going to fall out completely. Because he still has that defensive side, he still has that three-point side, and he's really good.
I mean, he might drop to 10, but then D-Wade falls even further.
Because he's behind. I think he's in front of Wiggins and Devin Booker and Chris Middleton. That's the only reason
I don't think Milton jumps him. I think the other two definitely could.
Well, we'll see what happens. Because again, Bucks might have a better season, and it might be the Bradley Beal effect, where the Wizards do better, and
True.
The Trailblazers kind of fall off, and maybe we see Middleton rise. The last thing that I want to ask you guys, and Ricky, I'll go to you first.
Okay.
With kind of the old guard, I'll use old guard loosely because they're not even that old. James Harden, Klay Thompson, Demar Derozan, Gordon Hayward. Is there a near future where those guys might not be in the top 5? And one of those guys, you don't have to say all 4, but is there a chance that maybe Gordon Hayward in the next couple of years, Demar Derozan in the next couple of years? Are we talking
next season, or are we talking in like 5?
If you see any in the next season, then you could throw that out there, but next 3, because again, you have Devin Booker out there, have Andrew Wiggins out there.
I really don't know. Like this is a group of guards where I'm like, I could, if you said in 3 years it'd be the same, I'd be like, I wouldn't be surprised with how James Harden is playing right now, Klay Thompson with how he's been. I mean, I don't see any of these 4 just falling off the face of the earth.
Let's put it, if you have to pick one of them, Gordon Hayward, DeMar DeRozan, Klay Thompson, James Harden. If any of them are going to fall out of the top 4. Who would it be?
Kind of want to lean towards DeMar DeRozan just because he is already 28, and I'm like,
he is only a mid-range player.
I don't see it. I don't see anyone other than him. Maybe Gordon Hayward, but not really because I'm excited for what he's going to do. Well, not excited, but he's going to do good things in Boston. Let's be honest.
He's got 5 years in Boston.
I would say DeMar DeRozan only by default because you're asking me to pick one.
All right, and Dave, would you agree with him on DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah, I think he's my weakest player out of that group, and that's not even bad. I mean, it's top 5 shooting guards, but like, in honesty, you mentioned the deficiency in his game and the fact that we watched it falter when Kyle was out, and we had that discussion back and forth about who's more important to the team, Kyle Lowry or DeMar DeRozan. I think that was answered.
I don't know if it was faltered because of Kyle Lowry, but it was just he was putting the team on his back for so much and just drained him. I think that's really what it was. And plus, teams took off more attention of Kyle Lowry, and they realized who was out also on the court around DeMar DeRozan, and they're like, oh, we could put more pressure on him. But the other thing I want to say is, we talk about Bradley Beal taking the next jump. I mean, the one guy I want to throw out there is Klay. Because, yes, Klay's on one of the best teams of all time, but I would probably say, is the 4th option. I mean, you could disagree with me there.
No.
Because I would say Draymond plays a bigger role because of his defensive side and also his...
I mean, 4th option offensively or 4th option, like, as
in general.
If you had to choose contracts to keep, contracts.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think Draymond brings more to the table. Like, Klay is... like what he did defensively for them was phenomenal, but no showing as many playoff games as he did offensively, I think that really stands out, and it gives you a pause for concern because he can go that cold. But the highs are so.
The thing I want to bring up, I want to throw out is Dave mentions like that's a huge red flag, but it wasn't enough of a red flag for any of us to put him third.
No.
Wasn't
and
a
I don't
red
think we
flag
would.
for any of us to put him
the
third.
thing I want to say though is if Clay wasn't on the Warriors and Clay was on his own team, would he be number 2? Would he be having this much success?
If he's on Brooklyn, no. He's not in the top 2 if he's on Brooklyn.
But I mean, we see the high peaks. Maybe he's able to step out from that, get more of a shot.
I'm not saying he would
be able
be
to take
towards
over a team.
the end, but he wouldn't be 2 if he was on Brooklyn.
So just because he's on the Warriors?
Well, yeah. If he was, and I'm using
and
Brooklyn as the hyperbole because they are the lowest team to me in the NBA. If he was on Brooklyn, his role would be increased. He would be the number 1 scoring option, and he would have to be doing it on offense and on defense. Thing that works great for him in Golden State is he can be the 2 or 3 scoring option, and then they can say, just do defense. We've got Durant, we've got Steph. Do defense. Do what you do.
Just wanted to throw it out there. He's easily a top second option there in the league, and I don't want to take that away from Clay. I'm just throwing it out there because we got to talk about something with Clay.
It's a good discussion.
Because when you look at Demar Derozan, I don't think see James Harden falling off anytime soon. That guy's going to go to the hole for the next 5 years and still draw contact. Gordon Hayward, again, he's super
still going to lay
consistent.
on people's backs and draw fouls for some reason that are not against him.
And Gordon Hayward's super consistent and only improving. He might become that 50, 40, and 90 player if he picks up his free throw percentage. Anyways, we got to wrap this up because we're coming up on that 29-minute mark that we also want to avoid. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening on Blog Talk Radio as well. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe down below, and also don't forget to like this and tell us why we're wrong in the comments because we know you will. Anyways, for Dave Oster, for Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.